Could Michigan State be a surprising team during the 2025 season? Year two of the Jonathan Smith era, I like what they did in the offseason to bring in some talent to address areas that they needed to improve. Offensive line, they know they have to be able to run the ball better and pass protect in critical situations. They added versatility, experience, strong competition across the board in that room. Wide receiver, adding a mix of diverse skill sets that, when teams are trying to take away Nick Marsh, they're able to have other guys excel and win matchups and do things schematically to put those guys in favorable positions. The pass rush, they know they need to be better in passing down situations, and that starts by affecting the quarterback. Rush and coverage tying together well. They weren't able to get after the quarterback consistently last season, and they know that that's going to be a pivotal component to getting this program to take the next step, because you saw flashes last year. I think that's easy to see when people have been box score watching Michigan State. You see some of these defeats that they had last year where scores lopsided in the box score, but if you actually watch the game, there were ebbs and flows in the game where they were competitive. They were showing flashes of potential, but you get down in the red zone, a fumble, an interception, a detail lapse where you got a coverage bust and the team scores late in the half. They got to get better in the middle eight portion of games. The last four of the first half, the first four of the second half. You look at the Michigan game, that was a big turn in that matchup. I felt like Michigan State lost that game in the middle eight portion because they just had a couple of detail lapses. So if they can clean up the detail lapses and also be able to get these guys to mesh that they're able to bring in through the portal, they clearly have made it a priority to bring in productive players that have produced, whether that's at the D2 level, the FCS, the group of five, players even that were at the P5 that maybe went down a level. They were productive there, and they were able to come up now and make an impact in the Big Ten. Production over potential is the mantra that Chris Signetti used. I see Michigan State following a similar blueprint. And we all know this season is largely reliant upon how Aidan Chiles performs. And you saw the flashes last year where he can make the big-time throws at all three levels. But then it's just the detail mistakes where it's, maybe eat it, take the sack, throw the ball away, protect the football when you're running. He's able to escape and extend plays with his legs, but there were some times where he was losing the football. He fumbled 6 times last year, conference high, 11 interceptions. Just got to cut down on the mistakes, and I thought that was better as the season progressed. If you look from week 1 to the end of the year, definitely made strides. It was all about investment in Aidan Chiles this offseason. John Boyer, who worked at Oregon State with Jonathan Smith and the quarterbacks previously, he's coming in to coach the quarterbacks now at Michigan State. Brian Lindgren, the offensive coordinator, can spread his wings, be more holistic on the offensive side, still have an influence on the quarterbacks, but John Boyer can be that main voice in the room to help Aidan Chiles improve the areas that he needs to dial in on. And that's just details. That's fundamentals. That's decision-making. And you look at what they were able to do personnel-wise, not just on the coaching staff side, but O-line, wide receiver, bringing in a running back and Elijah Tautoliver. They're going through some transition at running back with K'Ron Lynch-Adams gone, Nate Carter gone. Tautoliver, transfer from Sacramento State, productive player, not just as a rusher, but as a receiver as well, who emerges as a couple of those young backs behind Tautoliver. That's a storyline. But when you see O-line, wide receiver, what they're able to do, they're putting Aidan Chiles in a position to be successful. And that's the key entering the season. Can he be more consistent? And they invested in him last year. They didn't pull him out. They let him get those pivotal game reps, and I think that could pay off for them this season. But like I say, I want to zone in on that wide receiver room for the Spartans. I love what they did this offseason. You got Nick Marsh coming back, who will be one of the top ascending young wide receivers in college football. You look at what this guy brings to the table. He's a natural separator. He's so good at smoothly dropping his weight in and out of breaks. Making plays at all three levels. I could see him making a big step forward this year as he dials in and refines the details of the position. He has been pushing himself. He knows the potential that he has, and the coaching staff wants to unlock all that. last year, he's getting a lot of attention. You know, when they try to double Nick Marsh now, be my guest is basically what Michigan State is saying now. They brought in Omari Kelly, excellent portal ad out of Middle Tennessee State, spent 2 years at Auburn before transferring to Middle Tennessee. Like I say, favorable matchups for him. He's able to win vertically. I like how he's able to make a lot of plays on the ball, you know, high point, make great adjustments, showing good body control. He's a good return man, so he can provide some value in that area. Keep an eye on Omari Kelly as a complementary option to Nick Marsh. Krishan McCray, transfer out of Kent State, can work outside, out of the slot. 2 years of solid production at Kent State, despite dealing with bad quarterback play. 711 yards, 9 TDs last season. Great speed and acceleration, shiftiness. You could get the ball out to him via the screen game, feature him on the perimeter, capable of making plays at all 3 levels. A unique skill set, which is different from the other ones that they have in the room. They definitely have guys that they can mix and match confidently based on what they're trying to do and how the defense is trying to take certain guys away. Evan Boyd, transfer, another guy they added out of Central Michigan. Bigger physical skill set, more of a power forward type of guy at 6'3", 210. Smaller snap share at Central Michigan, but another weapon that they can bring in based on certain situations. Maybe he's more of a red zone guy, stretch the seam type of player, work over the middle of the field on climbing crossers, gives them a physical, bigger skill set dimension to complement McCray, Kelly, and Marsh. And then D2 Valdosta State, Rodney Bullard, twitchy, explosive, quick first step type of player. Again, D2 level productive. 85 catches for 1,567, 19 touchdowns in 28 games between 2023 and 2024. Great kick returner as well. Twitchy skill set. Another guy, get the ball in space, feature his dynamic playmaking ability when you want to, run some screens, you want to get climbing crossers going off play action, throwbacks, those type of things. Rodney Bullard gives them speed and a little bit of juice dimension. And then, that's the wide receiver room. Those are the guys that, are able to complement each other in that room. They have great skill set diversity. But then let's factor in Jack Velling, a tight end who returns as one of the top tight ends in the conference. 36 catches, 411 yards last season, moves well for his size profile, being able to flash, detail, nuance, in and out of break points, threat underneath, threat over the middle. Will they be able to get him more involved in the red zone this season? I think so. Velling combined with those wide receivers, exciting playmaking potential. The only thing I would say is let's see how this running back room comes together. I guess if it were me, I would rather be a little bit less certain about the running back room and be extremely dynamic at the wide receiver spot, feel comfortable at the O-line. You can find running backs deeper down the depth chart and develop them. Keith Bonpo, their running back coach, I think is one of the better position coaches in the entire country at developing running back talent. So I feel really good about him being able to unlock a couple of those younger guys behind Elijah Tautauer. Offensive line, like I mentioned, huge hit with Connor Moore in the transfer portal, one of the top-rated players in the FCS last year, only allowed 1 sack last season, according to PFF tracking. Left side there, probably plays the right side here. Stanton Remo will be on the left side. He is a high upside player that, former 4-star, saw action last year. They were able to invest in him, learning, growing, in-game reps. Now they got Remo and Moore on the tackle spots. The interior, the offensive line, able to bring in some great competition there, some experienced guys. Galvin, the interior lineman that they added from Wake Forest, has played left guard, right guard, projects as a center, kind of a cornerstone piece. Christian Phillips last season got hurt right away at the start of the year. They lost his veteran presence. He comes back. I just like what they were able to do to create competition along the offensive line. Versatile players who can play multiple spots. That's important as injuries strike. They have a lot of different ways and directions that they can go offensively along the offensive line. They know they need to run the football better. They were not consistent enough in that area. There are flashes, but they just weren't able to sustain it. Now, if you can get to the point where you're dynamic in the pass game, you're able to throw the ball all over the yard. You got defense is accounting for that. They're playing more zone. They're scared that you're going to beat them deep. Then you're going to run into lighter boxes. You're going to have favorable box counts. You can do some things schematically in the run game to help yourself out. And I think that's where Michigan State lacked last year. They were not multidimensional enough on offense. It was easier to take away their threats. Now I think they have enough talent in the skill position rooms where they can play multidimensional and take advantage of how the defense is playing. Look at the defensive side of the ball. Again, pass rush is going to be a big deal. Michigan State knew that in the spring window. They went and got Cam Williams out of Georgia State, Isaac Smith out of Texas Tech. Both of them will be able to help them out probably at the R position. Jalen Thompson, Quindarius Dunnigan coming back as, more of the 5-tech options. Can a couple of those guys ascend? Kakai Burnett, another player who's been developing as a young guy. Is he ascending? I particularly like what they have in the defensive tackle room. Ruquan Buckley, watch for this guy. He's big, he's long, he's got a good side-to-side quickness, some power to him. A transfer out of Nebraska that was getting some seasoning last year. Now he's ready to take potentially a big step forward. Keep an eye on him. Beeler, he's another young guy in that defensive tackle room. Pass rush juice situational type of guy. Keep an eye on him. Van Sumeren coming back as a veteran guy. Ben Roberts, a transfer out of Oregon last season, saw some rotational snaps. More of a nose type of skill set for them. Jalen Satchel coming back, versatile guy who can play between alignments, was a transfer out of Old Dominion. So some of these transfers they added last season, they were able to get experience in the defense, and you could see a big ascending upward trajectory from them. And then not to mention Grady Kelly, who productive at Colorado State, transferred to Florida State, didn't get as large of a snap share, but this system fits him well. I think Joe Rossi is going to put him in favorable positions to be successful, to get matchups, provide them with some pass rush juice, which I think is something that they really wanted to emphasize this offseason, both from the interior and the exterior alignments of the defense. And I think they were able to do that. And then they can bridge some stuff with some schematic wrinkles that allow them to get after the quarterback as well, using some of those second-level defenders, which I think, transitioning into that. Jordan Hall coming back, versatile weapon, dynamic, being able to mug him around, drop him, move him to various alignments in certain pressure situations. They got to be able to play the run, but Jordan Hall provides them with a versatile type of skill set dimension that, veteran presence, block deconstruction, pass rushing down, blitzing skill, being able to play in coverage, big to get him back this year. Wayne Matthews, another veteran, transferred in from Old Dominion last year, became familiar with the scheme, back again, should see a big step forward. Darius Snow, another veteran player who got some time in the scheme last year. And then it comes down to a guy like Brady Pretzloff, who spent last year developing as a young guy, someone in the recruiting process that I was extremely intrigued by as, a guy that could ascend, be someone who is a perfect fit for Joe Rossi's scheme. He's able to get stronger. He's physical. He's rangy. He's athletic. Let's see what he can do. Maybe he gets some spot snaps throughout the season just to get him some experience. And then here's where I think it comes to. The defensive back room for the Michigan State Spartans, they're going to have a couple of different players be very pivotal for them this season. Chance Rucker went down with an injury. He's going to be the A1 option at the cornerback spot. Josh Eaton coming in, productive player at Texas State. I feel like his IQ, understanding of the game, type of scheme he played in, going to be a nice fit in what Joe Rossi's looking to do. The big name, Nijay Burt, transfer out of Eastern Illinois, nickel outside, twitchy, dynamic type of corner. I think he can provide a lot of versatility and juice to that defense. Watch out for him this season as a potential ascending player. Also, Malcolm Bell coming in from UConn, bigger, longer type. Think about, in Joe Rossi's past, you had Benjamin St. Juste. I don't think this Bell's as athletic and movement skill gifted as Benjamin St. Juste was, but on that arc of a bigger, longer type of corner who can come in the game. Dontavius Nash was at North Carolina, was at East Carolina, late transfer ad, can play safety, can play corner, a versatile skill set that can move around the defense. They definitely wanted to get more versatile in the back end to improve the depth. And then safety spot, you got Nakai Martinez coming back with Malik Spencer. Nakai Martinez, phenomenal transfer portal add last year to UCF. You look at the dynamic ability in his game, his physical presence, but also ball skills, being able to work the deep half, work over the slot, come down around the box, all the things that you want in a safety within Joe Rossi's scheme. Nakai Martinez checks those boxes. Him pairing up with Malik Spencer, who's coming back, strong there. But the question is the depth piece at the safety spot. Tracy Revels comes in as a late add out of Bowling Green, productive younger player who played at Bowling Green. Now he's coming up a level. Is he able to provide some rotational depth? Devin Cromwell, transfer add out of Texas Tech. Is he able to provide, some spot snaps for them? I want to see how cornerback depth, safety depth turn out. If that secondary is able to perform at a high level, limit explosives, be tight, detailed, communicate at a high level. We know the safety position, extremely important component of Joe Rossi's defense with all, the quarters coverage, all the split field safety type of stuff. You got to have safeties that are dynamic, good communicators, play within the system, have all three levels of the defense tying together, being able to rush the quarterback, rush and coverage, working in sync together, being able to play the run, get in a position where they're able to do some more things schematically to get after the quarterback. You look at their personnel moves, they should be able to do that this year. They have productive players across levels. Some of them were later adds. They got to get those guys up to speed, but I like the offseason overall, top to bottom, productive mix of players, returning guys, investing in positions that matter, contribute to the outcome of games, looking at their offensive and defensive styles, adding players that will support what they're trying to do schematically long-term. But again, I feel like there's a couple of things, storylines that we need to watch with Michigan State. Can Aidan Chiles take a big step forward? Big key. Will the offensive line be more consistent, specifically in the run game? Feel like they were able to address that with the competition, versatility, experience they added up there. Is Nick Marsh going to emerge as one of the top wide receivers in the nation in year two? I feel like the players they were able to add in that room, it's a sneaky wide receiver position group in this conference with the mix of guys they were able to bring in, pairing up with Marsh, and considering all the attention that Marsh is going to get on a week-to-week basis. I feel strongly that Michigan State could have one of the more surprising wide receiver rooms in the conference. Defensively, can they generate enough pass rushing juice? Pivotal component of the season. Got to get off the field on third down, get in second and long situations, be able to back teams up. I feel like Joe Rossi and the staff, the investment in players, what they're going to do schematically, it should improve tremendously in that category. And then new additions at corner, new additions at safety, blend the returning guys at a couple locations in the secondary. This defensive scheme is built around strong defensive back play. Do they have enough depth there, especially at the safety spot? That's what I'm going to be watching entering the 2025 season. But Jonathan Smith, fingerprints on this thing. They want to be physical. They want to be able to run the ball, but they're also going to be a multi-dimensional team that, if you're playing to take away the run, then we're going to win matchups on the outside. We got the wide receivers and the tight end and Jack Belling to do a lot of different things in the pass game, and the offensive line should be more physical. I want to see how Michigan State performs this season. I think they're being slept on slightly just because of, people that maybe are just looking at the box score from last season. They didn't see truly how close they were. A few plays here or there, they could have taken a huge step in 2025 just based off fixing some of those smaller details that they weren't able to execute last year. So in summary, keep an eye on the Spartans entering 2025. They could potentially be one of the more surprising teams in the Big Ten in 2025.